Hey everybody, this is Bogue again for Everything Board Games. I'm here, part of the artist series, and once again, real excited to have another guest with us, Joshua Calloway. Is it Josh? Can we go by Josh or Joshua?
Yeah, Josh is fine.
Josh is fine. Cool. Very cool. So we're talking about the game he was a part of, Master of Wills. And that's, again, that really I personally play. And I think you and I met each other back, I think it was PAX South.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, San Antonio a while back, was launching it. And now for folks that may not know this game, definitely check it out. But it's really an interesting thing because as much as we can get into the mechanics of it and how we just talked off camera beforehand, I really want to talk about art, and that's why the series exists, about the influence that really has. And one thing about this game, I will tell you straight up, is that the game, if I was going to rate it on it, I would say, it's probably 80% art, 20% game when it came to the actual experience. And that's all directly to you. So I'm excited to have you on, talk a little bit about it. So just a little bit, get your, I guess, background on everything. With Masters of Will, it's the game has a lot of has some lore to it, right? So the unique thing about it is there is some backstory, right? And there's what is there 8 factions in the game?
Yeah, 8 total. Yep.
That's what they ended it with, right?
Yeah. It kind of rounded out. So there's 8 total, and 4 were kind of the core factions, and then the other 4 are kind of the extensions.
Gotcha. Okay. And we'll put some, you can see this as we go along here, taking a look at it. And is there plans for more or no? Do you know? I know not.
The recent product was Thorn Ravers, and that is kind of an offshoot, but it plays with whole new mechanics where there was almost like we introduced a domino layering setup. So you play the regular game, but off to the side, you're utilizing cards that you can link up in interesting ways to make combos.
Gotcha. And were you a part of all of that as far as
yeah. I did all the art development for that.
Okay. Well, let's jump into that. That's what we're talking about here, part of the artist. And now, again, you might hate me when I say this, but every time somebody asks me about the game or when I play and we talk, they say, what is the game? I always say, well, the art. I love the art. Well, what is? I said, I don't know. It's kind of like a cyberpunk art type of. Am I close on? You're probably like, oh my god,
that's right on the head. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's, I mean, when I actually had to look it up too, I'm like, is this a real thing or what are they doing? And I think somebody came up and said it's also considered like techwear or futuristic Gothic fashion is the conversation. How close am I on all this?
Yeah, that's pretty spot on. Yeah, cyberpunk techwear. Yeah.
Nice. So you look at me do my homework for this stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so I say that's your kind of your style, or at least for this game is. And when I look back at your portfolio, which I'll want to put that link in the down below and just have folks take a look at it as well. Can you give me a little bit your thoughts on what you consider your style, if that's it, and quite frankly, who some of your influence were to get where you are?
Yeah. So I would say stylized realism is what I kind of shoot for. I've always enjoyed cinematography and film, so bringing that level of realism into my traditional painting and drawing, that's kind of where my foundation is. I started off as a painter doing oil paints, so bringing that into digital world and trying to blend those together has always been my goal. And I love future stuff. Cyberpunk and neon has always been fun, and it's a blast to try to think of new technology and what might come in the future.
Yeah.
So, kind of all blended together in Master of Wills.
Yeah, and it's really cool. I mean, because you do have some different captions. I mean, when you talk about tech and robots, and then so you draw humanoid, but you draw robot, you draw a lot of different portions. I mean, throughout it. And I guess I see there's a lot of drapery, a lot of earrings, a lot of
like accessories.
There's more holes on some of these characters of yours than I think. In a circus, but it's pretty cool. So when we talk about this, and one thing I want to talk about is unique design that you've created. And I guess the task was not just for board game, because that's what we talk about here, but you actually converted it into the digital world too for Apple, Android, and Windows, correct?
Yep. So it exists as an app as well.
Yeah, very cool. When you're designing, can you talk a little bit about that? Because like I said, we have a lot of obviously readers and viewers and so forth on the site, but a lot of them are designers themselves or up and coming, they want to be. Can you give us a little background and thoughts on how that worked between the board, right, to digital or vice versa?
Yeah. It's a mixture of how the assets are going to be utilized. So whenever I'm making an illustration or design, I'm considering utilizing the different layers. So a lot of times we're having a background layer, a character layer, and a visual effects layer. And that kind of simplifies it, but in that way, we can then utilize those layers for marketing in different ways. Doing it in a digital game, there's more leverage that you can make out of that. And there's also the restrictions of what space you have. You have much less space on a screen than you do like a physical game where you can kind of be in front of the pieces. So there's those considerations when you're dealing with the tech and the actual scale of the device you're handling in the digital medium.
Gotcha. And so I think in this case, the timeline was you created the game first, right? And then digital, or did you kind of work at it together?
We did the board game first.
You did. Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. As you did that. Very cool. So one thing about us, and of course, part of this in my relationship with Everything Board Games, I have Meepology, which is it's a game your personality type of algorithm where people go in and they actually put in their personalities, and it kind of delivers the type of game that they would like. With the crossover for this, though, I thought was interesting is when you talk about art and you talk about the immersion of art. I want to get your thoughts on how important it is. Of course, you're going to be a little biased, right? But the importance of art into not just the game design, but the playability of it, right? For instance, you know, the personality of some folks, like an old school, I don't know, a squad leader, or a game that's really just little tiles that you place it on and you play. There's people that enjoy those games, right? Because it's about the maybe the role play or the imagination, or they just don't care, right? It's about the technical. Right. But then there's others that want it blown out, you know, crazy look, you know, the on the board and on the table, it's got to look beautiful. Of course, I'm more towards that side than not. But in like people want to see different things. What's your take on that and how art impacts playability in gaming?
Yeah, I think it comes down to the intention of the game a lot of times, where if you're spending quite a bit of time playing the game, 30, 40 minutes, an hour, a couple hours, there's a level of investment into that, and the art can really help with the immersion and all of it and increase the experience that you get from that as a group and as an individual. And there's other games where I think of like Yahtzee, maybe you're kind of rolling simple dice and scoring up numbers. The experience of the art in that isn't as important. So again, I go back to kind of the intentionality and how long does it take to play the game? Right. A lot of times. And that equates to how much time you need to invest in the art. Because you can still get beautiful, impactful work in terms of the visuals by just simplifying the style, and it still has a similar effect of it. It immerses me in the game, it increases the playability, the vibrancy of the game just pops, and really pushing the visuals also helps with the relatability. If you can now start to connect, there are certain games, like certain board games, where I think Magic the Gathering is one of the great ones, where there are certain cards that speak to people, you know, like you know them, and when you see them, it brings up a nostalgia and a sense of memory. And I think trying to find those iconic opportunities in developing art for your game just increases the livelihood and the iconography of it. So
yeah, and certainly your game does pop as they take a look here and take a look. That's a beautiful thing about it. And yeah, every time I lay my Black Lotus and I pull it out, I'm like, yeah, this is maybe not so much. Very cool. Well, I think as we talk about, you know, art and design and how important it is, you know, everybody from myself, you know, people I talk to that are game designers, creators, just love the game itself. Everybody's got their idea. You know, the biggest issue has always been, you know, getting it to table or getting it out there and then making it look pretty and doing everything. So that's going to lead me to the next hot potato question, right? Because that comes up all the time. about AI art. Now, I'm guessing probably not a big fan of it, but I want to get your thought on this because it is a part. You can see it rolling out a lot of different places within the industry. I mean, just in general. You know, I think the last time I talked, it was NFTs. That was the big thing, right? And I was, well, okay, now we're past that. We're into the the big boy stuff now. I don't know. What's your thought about it? And don't hold back. Tell me what your, I mean, somebody that's in the business and industry and so forth to bring a game out.
I come at it from two different points of view. I think it offers a sense of magic because you're able to, the way you're able to input and then output and quickly create ideas has a lot of power for me as an artist and developer. That saves me a lot of time. That's super efficient for production when I'm ideating. Now, as long as I'm not taking any of that and having it as like a final output of an image and not utilizing that for really anything other than development, then I don't really have an issue with it. There's still like I've used it long enough now, mostly Midjourney, to understand that it generalizes a lot of the imagery that it outputs based on the internet that it's scraping data from. So all those pool sets kind of put out a lot of imagery that looks a lot of the same. Like it looks the same a lot of times. I'm starting to see, it looks like AI art. It has like a sensitivity to the mark making and the way it looks. There's the infamous kind of messed up hands all over, like the gnarly looking fingers,
or the ear that isn't quite attached. You're like, is that a sci-fi ear?
Floating off the ear. So in that sense, it's a powerful tool. Using it as a means to make easy money by circumnavigating the copyright infringement that doesn't have enough litigation and regulation in place yet, that's where it crosses the line for me. Kind of profiting off of that, and especially utilizing artists' names and their developed style to kind of
interesting. That's
like there's certain artists now, because of the wave of AI, if you search their name, it's almost impossible to distinguish their original work from AI work now. Just a quick Google search.
Right. And I mean, have you done that with Midjourney, like typed in Joshua Calloway art making a whatever?
I tried it once with Facebook. I was curious, like, let me just see. And it caught my beard. Like it did a portrait of my beard.
Oh, God.
So
you're saying yourself, like put you in an eye.
Yeah.
When I'm saying it's like, was it Chat GPT or whatever, where it's like, form me a photo in a Joshua Calloway style or something like that. I wonder what would come up.
I haven't tried that yet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's like who admits that they Google their name, right? To see what's going on there. Right. Yeah. Funny. Good stuff. Well, man, thank you very much. I mean, when we talk about future, and again, as everybody has a chance to see your work and everything going on here, what do you have coming up next, and what's in store for you?
So I'm kind of on a number of projects, working on another indie game that I guess I can't really talk about that. There are things that I can't really talk about.
Very good.
I'm currently working for doing work for MyEd. It's the Milwaukee Art Institute of Design. It is an art college in Milwaukee, and I'm teaching there.
Oh, nice.
Kind of on the side. They offered me a position doing kind of concept art instruction. So I'm doing work for them, and the main things that I'm working right now on are either coming out this year, which I'm super excited about.
I bet.
Or they're current projects that I've been working on for a couple of years that are under NDA. And I can't really speak to. But otherwise, I am teaching. I have a Patreon that I've been developing, and I'm working on my personal projects of Apocalypse. And then just drawing and teaching.
Very cool, man. That's great. It's exciting to see. And I was like, so when we had a chance to talk a little bit, I know, anytime you get you dive into a whole, I think it was a faction you were working on at the time and everything, it's just the excitement of doing that. I'm sure you see that with a lot of students, or if you're teaching that, or if you're, helping people to get that feel, it's pretty fantastical, right?
It is. It's
Yeah.
it's a love, work of love, work of passion.
Yeah, exactly. Well, great. I guess how do people get a hold of you? Like I said, maybe for some commission work, or wanted to
Yeah.
learn a little bit more. If they get a chance to play the game, even just reach out to you. What's the best way?
Yep. jcallawaydesign.com is my website.
Okay.
It has all my links, emails, but otherwise I have artstation.com/jcallaway,
Great.
and mainly my website, jcallawaydesign.com. That's where I try to filter everything through.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Josh, we appreciate it very much, man. Thanks for the time coming on and sharing a little bit about
You're
yourself
welcome.
and
Thank
about
you.
the projects. And we'll look forward to see more from you down the line.
Cheers. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate
Cheers.
it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jay.